Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. My name is Michael Henning,
And I am Skylar Hughes.
and you're listening to The Bird Herd.
Joining us today is the team captain of the CSGO Academy team, David OGsus Winkle. David is a senior marketing major here at ISU.
And really quick, before we start, we just like to give a huge shout out to Quetz for making this incredible intro song you just heard. His social media will be linked in the description of the video, so please make sure you check him out and support him. He does a huge favor by making us this music.
David, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. A little sick, but it happens.
Tell me about you. What do you like to do? Video games and outside?
Spend a lot of time playing CS. Pretty boring. Recently got in Destiny 2 with some of the guys on the team. Justice specifically got me into playing it a lot. It's been a lot of fun. Spent time with my girlfriend, and then watched a lot of YouTube.
Did you play the first Destiny?
I did not.
You didn't?
No.
Alright, kind of controversial, but okay.
Yeah, it's a hot take, but...
So, how long have you been gaming in general, though?
I had an N64 when I was like 3 and started playing like Super Mario, Smash, all kinds of games, and got Xbox and played Halo, which was my first FPS, with my cousins out in Delaware. So they're kind of my favorite cousins after introducing me to that.
How long have you been playing CS for?
Only since the very end of 2017. So I think it was right after Optic Gaming started doing really well. I kind of hopped over from Call of Duty.
That's cool. I know for myself too, when I was a big Call of Duty fan as well, and when Optic was making that run, it really opened up my eyes to CSGO, and that's similar to around the time that I started playing as well. Is Optic your favorite team still, or do you have a favorite team now?
In CS, I definitely support EG. It's my boy Tarek. And also Stanislaw. I'm a big fan of how he plays and how he leads. And also just what he's dealt with as an IGL and a player in the pro scene. He's been on all different types of teams, gone through the full ringer.
That's interesting since Tarek and Stanislav both came over from that original Optic squad that you're talking about.
So what made you choose CS over other games? Was it just, seeing that kind of pro scene?
I think a lot of it was a skill ceiling, because CS is the only game that has such a unique spray pattern on all the weapons, that it really increases the level that you can get to. Whereas in games like Call of Duty, if you can stay kind of not too erratic, then you can just shoot straight. It's not too difficult. And also it's just a lot more tactical. So it adds a lot more depth to the game.
Let's talk about the ISU CSGO team. So tell me a little bit about how it all started. I know all last year we didn't really have a team until the end of the year, and you were one of the first people to really show interest. Talk about a little bit of building the team here at ISU.
How we started out, we just kind of started as a scrim team almost, just figuring out how to play with each other, get in some practice because we saw that there was the April Anarchy coming up. We got a lot of practice from playing in that and learned a lot about what it means to be a cohesive CS team and how much teamwork it was going to take to actually be a team that was going to compete.
For yourself, individually, how do you improve at CS? Do you have any routines that you like to go through?
Recently I've started doing a lot more retakes, because that's an aspect of my game that I definitely need to work on a lot more. When I started to play CS, when I was really bad, I started pretty early on with the aim maps, where just the dot pops up in random spots, and the YPRAC maps that do smokes and pre-fires, which really helps a lot of game sense and just map knowledge. That translates into all kinds of instances along the way.
So when you're practicing and even when you're playing the game, is there a play style that you kind of lean to, default oriented, fast paced?
I definitely like to deal with the default so I have time to figure out what the heck's going on. I was watching a few other esports podcasts recently, and they were talking about a few of the IGLs and how they lead, and like how Glaive on Astralis, he tends to make a lot more like aggressive plays to make information. And if we ever get to a point of default where nothing's really happening, I'll try and make that play so that then I can, if I either get a kill, we can make a move, or if I die, I can process the information while everyone else is worrying about their situations, and then figure out a plan from there.
What leagues are you guys playing in, and have you had any results yet?
We are playing in CSL and will be in the NACCS, and we're thinking about competing in the ESEA Open League. We recently had a good win over North Central College's scrim team, which is essentially their academy team. I think we took their first map pick on, I believe it was Mirage or Inferno, one of the two, and then they took us on our map, and they were both really close maps, and then we ended up winning out on the final map on Overpass, which was our first time playing on it. So it was really positive to see how our guys reacted in circumstances we have little experience. They really pulled through on that. I know I wasn't playing super great, but I think Classical, Tyler, and Justice were playing very well.
Very cool. So do you have any goals for the season, whether that's for yourself or for how the team does?
I think with how the team is set up, I really want to focus on getting experience for the younger players. So that'd be Classical, Justice, and Entranced. They are 2 freshmen and a sophomore. Because the other players are me and Knack, who are both seniors, so we're not going to be around for too long. So we want to make sure that the other 3 are ready to take over when it's their time.
I think that's a really interesting approach and a great mindset actually for the program overall, is understanding that you guys are seniors and trying to develop these younger players as it is the academy team. But can you talk a little bit about how you guys use the digs space and what you guys do in the room?
The majority of what we've done has been demo review, which has been really important for us because it's a new team and a lot less experienced compared to a lot of other teams in our league. Being able to see our mistakes and just seeing like what all the flaws in that mistake were and how we can correct all the different things, because you can't always play perfect, and the other team is sometimes just going to hit nasty shots. You can't do anything about it. So it's a lot of learning about when you lost, if it was really your fault or if they just played perfect against you. And I think that's really big for the younger guys to help them with not getting as tilted in rough comebacks. Because now that they've kind of seen like how much we can do in a comeback, I think it's really helped a lot for them.
So right now, there's a lot of talk about the Krieg and the meta and that gun in general in CSGO. Can you give me your opinion on the Krieg and what you'd like to see done with that weapon?
Man, I heard some rumors about this one guy. I can't remember his name. I think it starts with a P. He's like this like devil with the Krieg. It's really annoying. But other than that guy, it's pretty. It seems like it's overpowered, and I'm not the type of person that can really give a strong opinion on that because I don't know how the game is made. But when you're able to win rifle fights against an op holding corners on LAN, I think there seems to be an issue there. When the 31 or was it 2750 gun is outdueling the 7450 a decent amount of the time, and it's something needs to happen. I don't know if it's going to be movement speed with the scope. I think that could be a big change to it, even though that's a big iffy thing for a lot of the community. Like when that happened with the op, everyone died. But it's something that needs to change. I don't know what. Because if you change the spray pattern, it might just get too useless. So it probably has to either be something with the economy of it or something with the scope play.
Recently, have you been keeping up with competitive CS, and what teams have you been keeping an eye out for?
I've been watching EG a lot because it's so impressive. Ever since they were in Energy with DAPS, I had such a high respect for how well they ran strategies and how they set up a system and like really developed it into what works. Like they just, and then Stanislaw came in and he adjusted it a bit and kind of took it more into free-flowing style and a lot more, like a little bit more puggy. But it seems to be working amazing for them. They're number 2 ranked right now, or 3, behind Liquid and Astralis, who Astralis just absolutely dominated at their last tournament, and Liquid's been amazing for the past year and a half, 2 years. So you can't really be too upset with them being placed behind them. But they've been playing really well, and they're really the team to watch out for to set the next stride.
So, are there any pro teams that you'd say the team kind of tries to model themselves after, or strats they kind of try and replicate, or you kind of do your own thing?
For our team, we try to figure out our own thing because we have such different players. Like I try and do something kind of like how Stanislaw runs his defaults, but I don't have Tarek or Ethan or Breeze or Cirque, or I am not Stan. I can't win the majority of my opening duels. But we're definitely working on it and trying to figure out what really works for us. We tend to fluctuate a lot in games between like a full default style and just having a straight structured exec or having a late structured exec, which really helps changing the pace. But we definitely need to get more work on figuring out what that pace is going to be for us.
What has gaming or CS specifically taught you?
The biggest thing that you learn in CS is just how to work with people that are difficult to work with. Playing through the competitive matchmaking system that they have, you tend to get partnered up with at least one person who can be very difficult to work with, to use polite terms. And you really have to learn how to move past people that act that way to achieve a common goal, even with them benefiting from it. And kind of getting over that ego of this person's kind of being a jerk and I don't want them to benefit from it, which is really a tough leap to get over, and not tilt yourself in games from them getting upset over everything and yelling at teammates over things that they don't even understand. But also just good communication skills and how necessary small information can be to everyone.
You mentioned, working with younger teammates, they're freshmen, you're seniors. Talk to me a little bit how, the dynamic of the team is. Do you think that really works? How do you fit into the team, that kind of thing?
I think it works pretty well, because I'm team captain and Justice is definitely more mechanically skilled than me and probably just all around better at the game than me. Classical is very skilled with the op, but they still do really well with taking instruction and communicating with me and Knack, especially because we're the 2 oldest. And if we say something, they tend to be like, okay, I'll calm down, I'll do this, or they'll at least try it. But they're definitely not, whenever they give their input, we always take it into account because they're great players. And if you aren't taking everyone's information, then you're already losing it yourself.
For someone just getting into CS or gaming in general, what advice would you give them?
If you're just getting into gaming, don't worry about being good, because that will be the number one detractor from you playing a game. I know when I started playing CS specifically, I said I played in the end of 2017. I played a little bit before then, but I was horrible. So I played a couple hours and I was like, nah, not for me. And that was just me being worried about being a bad player, because I was used to playing Call of Duty all the time and I was pretty good at it. But you really do just get better just from playing. Even if you play poorly, you'll eventually learn to play better. And you can always ask people in your match that you think are good, for advice, because they're usually pretty helpful.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for now. Thank you, David, for talking with us today. If you're listening to us through YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe, or if you're listening to us on SoundCloud, drop a follow.
Either way, make sure you catch next week's episode where we get to talk with the coach of our varsity League of Legends team. I'm Michael.
And I'm Skylar.
And this has been The Bird Herd.